So I've printed off a lot of miniatures and painted up a lot of miniatures, but I need some wargaming terrain. I've got a lot of fancy stuff and I did a load of stuff for Legions Imperialis, but in this video I'm going to be doing part 1 of my big terrain board for Warhammer 40k. And I've got some really fun files to play with. So the files that I'll be using for this is from one of Sorceman Studios' latest sets, which is this like Grid City one. It's this Gothic themed Grid City thing. It's all modular as well, so you can go absolutely crazy with it. And there's some crazy bits that you can build out. Now, as I mentioned, I've got loads of stuff like fantasy for Legions Imperialis, and I've got some bits that I've had around for like 40k. And recently we've been playing a lot of one-page rules, and I needed some stuff to use all like my 40k miniatures on. So when I was exploring all the stuff on like Kickstarter and everything for one of my monthly recap videos, I saw this set by Sorceman Studios, and I really like the look of it. It comes with all like the different building types. You've got your small, your medium, your large ones. So you've got all these like church and gothic-y bits, balconies and everything else. So I thought I'd back it. And then I ordered a whole bunch of filament. Elegoo are doing these really good prices at the moment where you can go direct on their website. It's like £99 for 10 kilos of Elegoo's grey filament, which is perfect for this project. So I ordered a bunch of that. Now, I'm not recommending you run out and buy Elegoo's filament. It's really hit and miss. It's really good when it works. But lately, I've been getting loads of tangled spools from Elegoo, and it's driving me bonkers. However, if you don't get tangled spools, then it's great, and it's a really good value. So for a project like this, it works fantastic. Headed over to my Bamboo Lab printers, got all the different files loaded up, and then I got them printed. That's probably going to be easier if I show you some of the stuff I've printed, rather than just rambling on about it. So let's head on over to a table somewhere, but I'll find one. So here we have just some of the stuff that I've printed off. There's a lot more that hasn't been painted up yet. And most of this isn't in its final bit of painting. We've just got a couple of the main buildings that I did a few paint schemes on. But the thing that I really like about this set is it includes so much. So you've got all things like these kind of like larger buildings if you want them. You've got these L-shaped buildings as well. You've got all these like tower type buildings, and they've all got different modular roofs. So it's all like different parts. They all come apart here. You've got like these little kind of circle bits, and they kind of clip nicely together. So it's just nice and modular. And there's just so many different things. So you can have like flat roofs, you can have a big old tower roof, and there's all sorts of different bits that you can print off for this. There's walkways, balconies, and everything else. You've got balconies here that you can put together. So as an example, this one here, which is pretty much fully done, it all like comes apart here, but then you can have the balcony, you can turn it around, you can have all the different doors and stuff like that on there. Walkways that come off it, so you can join all the buildings up if you want to. They've got these like buttresses on the front of that one as well. So if I want to mix it up, I can then take those bits off or have them on, don't have them on, do whatever I fancy. And there's loads of other stuff that I haven't done. So there's all like big gun turrets and stuff like that you can use with it. So all in all, this is what drew me to this set. It's a really fun set. A lot of stuff here that's really thematically fitting for things like Warhammer 40k. And it all fits just nicely. It's a really good fun bit to do. So I printed a whole lot of it off, and like I said, this is just some of it. And then I decided to spray it. Now, with this spray paint, I tend to do like a gold all over it, and then a silver from above. Sometimes I mix and match it. I'm never sure which way I end up doing it. Either way, it tends to look quite nice. So the look that ends up giving you is this like a worn goldy look. So the silver just does a really nice job and saves you some dry brushing when you get later on. So I did all of that for basically everything. But I also decided I wanted to kind of mix and match it as well, which is why you see this blue. So with these, it's just a blue spray paint all over, and then that same silver from above as well, and just helps it to make it look this metallic blue. And I figured, as I expand all of this terrain and the board that I'm going to do, there'll be different colours. So we'll have some blues, we'll have some reds, we'll have all sorts of different things, because, you know, in the 40k universe, nothing's going to look beautiful and pristine. It's going to be this kind of hodgepodge of all these buildings that end up getting thrown together, and I wanted it just to look like that, rather than this big old golden city. So once that was done, I decided I wanted to try a couple of different paint schemes, just to see what would work and what wouldn't. And I decided to try with these two gold ones, and then this blue one as well. Now, first thing I did is I did a bit of a cream dry brush all over it, and that just helped to pick out some of the highlights, dull down some of the shininess to make it look a little bit more dull, to look a little bit more dusty, and just bring it into the realm of something that's worn and damaged. I then went over with just some speed paints. The purple speed paint at this point burst and went all over the place, because speed paints like to do that, which is always great fun, and it stains everywhere. But then I managed to use up pretty much all the speed paint that burst everywhere and put it over the top. So anywhere that had these like sharp angles, roof points, I guess some of the pointy bits on the bridges here as well, I did that. And then I used a watered down speed paint for all like the window bits. And as I was doing that, it kind of looked like it was starting to rust, and it gave it almost a patina effect. It's not what I was going for. It just ended up being a bit like that. And I popped that into all like the window grills and stuff like that. It doesn't really make any realistic sense, but I like the look of it. Keeping it simple, I then just went back in with a homemade black wash all over. The problem with this is my homemade black wash didn't do particularly well. I should have probably done an oil wash, which I normally do, but I didn't this time. And it didn't sit in all the recesses it ran. I think it was just too watery. It's not actually that bad in the end, because what it's ended up looking like is a more natural flow. So where you're going to have all this grime and stuff washing down the building, it's ended up pooling in sort of like the lower areas or any of the areas that do stick out. So I don't think it actually looks too bad, and it's helped dull the whole thing down. And so again, not the effect I was going for, but I think it works pretty well. It makes it look like it's all water damaged and stuff like that. And then once that was done, I wanted to do something different, and I've not done this before. So I had a look, and I wanted to add some additional touches, shall we say. And I searched online, and I found these awesome posters. They're all these like 40k themed posters that you can get. I'll have them linked down below, so if you want to do something similar, by all means, have at it. But I love these. There's so many different ones, and I've got them stuck here. So I printed them off, and then with blue tack in the end, because gluing them was a nightmare, I started sticking them all over. Now, before I stuck them down, I scrunched them up a bit for the most part. Not all of them, but some of them, just to make them look like they were worn and damaged. And because, again, if they're on a building, they're probably not going to be perfect. Hung them on like the front here, so the ones that are a little bit larger had more of a banner. Some of the ones that are signs, I had them stuck so they were flush against the building. And then I went over with Agrax Earthshade and just like dabbed it on some of them, washed it all over on some of the others, just to kind of give it that almost like coffee staining effect to make them look old and worn. And then after that, I used my satin varnish over it just to kind of help protect it. In hindsight, I should have probably used something like PVA. Maybe done like a watered down PVA mix on it instead. That might have given it a bit more hard texture. It's not too bad, but I do think they'll probably damage and rip during gameplay and stuff. So maybe next time I'll try that instead. But I really like that. It just helps add an additional depth and some more storytelling to these, which is fantastic. Now, if you want to see them with some actual models, and I hope I don't drop these, I printed these gas mask horses by Daka, and they are absolutely awesome. They're kind enough to send them over. It's not a sponsored video or anything, but they asked, and they've been asking for a while, do I want to try out any of their files for any projects I've got coming up? And I saw these gas mask horses, which is absolutely not their real name, and they are fantastic. And if you've not seen Daka, it's worthwhile heading over. I'll have them linked down below as well. They always do monthly sets on Patreon and also on my mini factory. And they're all very themed on a very popular sci-fi war game that a lot of you are probably interested in. And these came out great. I did a really quick and simple paint job on these, and they match the rest of my Imperial Guard army that I've been doing. But I went for this like pinky brown mix, so everything was like a watered down brown speed paint over the top of them, and then a watered down pink speed paint. And I tried to do it whilst it was still wet and blend them both in together, and I think it worked quite nicely. And then the rest of it was all just speed painted as well, so they're not my best paint job, but they only took a couple of hours to do the whole set, and I really like these, so they're going to go nicely. I've always wondered, what does a gas mask horsey sound like, and what's he breathing into? In fact, he's got a gas mask, and I don't know. I probably shouldn't try and figure this sort of stuff out. So this is it with some miniatures on it as well. It fits nicely. Everything plays nicely. And next, I'll need to paint up the others and get some more posters and get them all matched up. But I'm also going to need some ground tiles. And I will do follow-up videos. Since this is just part one, this is just like testing out some of the buildings. But just as a bit of a teaser, I've also got these ground tiles as well. Now these were the same ground tiles that I used for my Legion Imperialis build, and I figured I'd do the same but just blow them up. So these are printed at 200%, and I think these will come off nicely because they've got all these squares on the bottom, so I can clip them all together so it doesn't move. And you can raise the ground as well, so it's not just one flat thing. You can have like hills, bridges, a canal. I think that'll work quite nicely. So that I will save for another video. I've only printed 4 of them so far. But let me know, what else should I print for this? This is just the start of it. I want to know what sort of things you guys would like to see. I probably need to have some kind of like big crash ship in the middle or some objective points for everyone to fight over. But I really like this. I said this is by Sorcerman Studios. It's a really good set. It works with their other sets as well, so if you've backed other things in the past, it's worthwhile having a look at. I pledged for it a couple of months ago and got all the bits now, and I like it. We're going to be printing more of this, all like the guns and the cannons and making fun things. And I like this. You know, this is all separate parts and it all goes together, so you can make yourself a big church if you want to, or you could just have it as like single buildings. Such a fun set. So thanks for watching the video. Hope you've enjoyed that. I'll have everything linked down below, so if you want to do it yourself, then by all means. And like I said, throw down in the comments, what should I print as part of this board? I've pretty much settled on my ground tile. I've pretty much settled on my buildings, but other decorative pieces, other things to do. What should I do? Let me know. I'd be really interested to know your thoughts. So thanks for watching. Hopefully I will see you in the next one. Ta-ra!